Hello, Namaste, Hare Krishna. So, in our daily healthy routine, we've reached up to breakfast, and now many people at this point in their daily routine would be off to work. So we'll talk about work from a Vedic perspective. Now, in the West, we mainly, well, I suppose all over the world now, we mainly think of work as just those activities that we do to make some money, to pay the bills, achieve our goals. But the Vedic understanding of work is a lot more broader and all-encompassing. It's a very important subject. It's one of the main subjects of the Bhagavad Gita, which is like the essence of the teachings of the Vedic culture, which I highly recommend you to read the Bhagavad Gita. Preferably, there's many versions also, preferably the one that says as it is. As it is. Actually, yeah, we had a person come and visit us and they said, when I showed them the Bhagavad Gita as it is, they said, we have that tattooed on our body, as it is. So when we said, this book is meant for you, as it is. Yeah, so there's many versions of Bhagavad Gita, but many of them are interpreted different ways, and people have put their slant on it and changed the words and the meaning. So, but Bhagavad Gita as it is without being fiddled with and changed. Because then the real potency, the real Shakti is lost if we change the message. So yeah, that's one of the main teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, is about karma. So karma means work, means action. So our actions are not only 9 to 5 when you're making money, but from when you wake up in the morning to when you're going to bed. It's all actions. It's karma. It's karma. And in the material world, any action or work that you do has a reaction. And most people when they use the word karma, they're talking about it in that sense, about the reactions. Like, that person did some really bad karma. That's bad karma. That's good karma. So yeah, that good karma, bad karma, the idea is that some actions give us good reactions, i.e. happiness, and some actions give us bad reactions, i.e. suffering. So we have that idea of good and bad. And these are universal laws, universal principles. It doesn't matter whether you're black or white, or a Christian or a Hindu or a Muslim or an atheist, or a man or a woman. There's universal laws, and if you follow those universal laws, you get a good reaction, happiness, and if you disobey them, if you don't, then we get a kick up the backside, some suffering. And it doesn't matter whether you believe in them or not. They're there, so just like in New Zealand, there's a 100-kilometre-an-hour speed limit, in some places, maximum. And it doesn't matter whether you know that or not, or whether you follow that or not, but if you break those laws and you get caught by the police, then you'll be punished in the form of a fine or imprisonment or whatever, depending how serious it is. Like that. So just like if you break the human laws, then there'll be some negative reaction. So the same with the universal laws. There's also universal laws. Not only human beings have laws, but the universe also has laws. And isn't it one of Newton's laws? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So that's like a scientific law. So that's karma. What goes around comes around. As you sow, so shall you reap. So it comes at us and said in different ways, but the same basic universal principle is there, that our actions that we do, they have reactions. So what's the problem with getting reactions? Okay, we don't like suffering, but it's even worse than that. Then the reactions that we get to our activities actually entangle us in the material world even beyond this lifetime. So therefore, an understanding of karma, we also need an understanding of reincarnation. That actually we're an eternal soul, and we're just transmigrating or moving from one body to the next. People say, I don't believe in reincarnation. But we're already reincarnating. We changed already from a baby's body to a child's body, from a child's body to a youth's body, from a youth's body to a middle-aged body, like that. And then we might go from middle-aged body to an old body, and then old body, a dead body. And then, so just like we've been through many changes, so death is just another change. And then there's a transition of the soul is taken out of this body when it's dead and moved into another body. And we're the same person our whole life. We all know that. But the body's completely different. Like the body, if I bring out my baby photos, I'm not going to recognise. No one will. The body is completely changed. But we know that we're the same person. Our mum and dad knows we're the same person. So even though the body changes, but we don't change. So that part that doesn't change, that's the soul. And we have been witnessing, the soul inside these different bodies is witnessing these different changes. Like we might remember, when I was 6, I fell off my bike and broke my knee or something like that. Or when I was 10, Mum and Dad took me on a trip to Australia or something. So something was in that body that was remembering. And that's the soul. But the body is being changed like that. So depending on our karma, our actions, that determines not only whether we are happy in this life or suffering in this life, but after this life, do we come back again to the material world? Do we come back in the same plane that we are now, like on Earth and a human being? Or do we come back on a lower plane? Like even there's other planets, according to the Vedas, they all have life according to the Vedas. And some lower forms of life, more miserable forms of life, some more happily, more happy existences, longer lifespans, everything like that. So there's all different gradations in the material world, from the very miserable to the happy. But even the very happy ones, they still have to, at the end of the day, grow old and get sick and die. It doesn't matter where you go in the universe, according to the Vedas. All of the places are ultimately places of misery, and life is temporary. So, and that's depending on our karma, depending on our work, our actions that we do, whether we go up, same level, or go down, or whether we go right out. Like the ultimate goal of Vedic culture is to help us to arrange our actions, our work, in such a way that doesn't cause any kind of material reactions, which is basically means you don't have to take birth again. And that's the ultimate idea, that this reincarnation process, birth, death, and old age and disease in between, is not good. It's so much suffering in there. So we want to get free from the cycle, which in Sanskrit is called samsara, the cycle of birth and death. So that is said to be only possible to get free from the cycle in the human species of life. If you're in any other species, animal, birds, plants, fish, they don't have the developed consciousness to change the consciousness and go beyond just trying to enjoy in the material world through the body, through the senses. So this human birth, according to the Vedas, is a great opportunity. It's very rare and very precious very valuable, that we can get liberation or freedom from all the suffering that's in the material world, and enter into a spiritual existence which is everlasting, blissful, and in full consciousness. It's called Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat means eternal, Chit means knowledge, and Ananda means bliss. Perfect happiness, no suffering. So to explain, that's the normal existence for the soul, because that's what we are. We're an eternal soul. So the eternal soul can't be happy in this material world because it's the opposite kind of environment to what we are. Everything in the material is temporary, but we are eternal. So how can the eternal, exist compatibly with temporary? And our nature is to be conscious, full of knowledge. But matter, we say dead matter. It's just inert, ignorant matter. Like I'm sitting at a table and chair, and it's just dead matter. Can I have a relationship with it? I mean, I'm using the table, put my phone on it, but can I have a real satisfying, loving relationship with the table and the chair? No, because it's just dead matter. I'm conscious, and the matter's not conscious. And also we're Ananda. Ananda means our nature is to be blissful, to be happy. Whereas, like I said, the nature of material existence is all miserable. Matter all ends up with old age, disease, death, like that. Even birth, there's so many sufferings in birth. And, we've got, lady was just talking with us about, she's seen a terrible cyclone, and when she was in Australia, in Queensland, and she said it was a very horrifying experience. So that's what this material, nature does to us. It puts us through a lot of very horrific experiences and things like that, that create fear, anxiety, stress, and so many things. And we're going to be looking at those subjects and how to deal with those too in due course, which is very common in today's society. So much fear, so much stress and so forth, anxiety. So we want to get free from that. We talk about freedom, but we don't know what real freedom is or how to get it. But the Vedic culture gives us a definite step-by-step process how to attain real freedom. Like, not many people are probably going to be interested in this subject of work, because most of us would rather not hear about work, not talk about work. We're sick of work, we're bored of work, and we want to be free from work. But yeah, so if you really want to get free from work, put up your hand if you want to work. Not many people would do that. So if you really want to get free from work, experience a place or an environment, an atmosphere where you don't have to work, then you should increase your understanding of spiritual life, because that is the only place where you can escape having to work. Unfortunately, that is also a part of this material world, that it's even said that in the Bhagavad Gita. Just to maintain your body, you have to do some work. That the basic things the body needs, food, shelter, and so forth, are not going to come automatically. You need to do something to get them. There's a saying that even though the lion is the king of the jungle, but it still has to work to get its food. We know that the lion has to run very fast, to catch its prey, So even though it's the king of the jungle, it has to work very hard. So some actions are there. So actions are there continuously in our life. We're always acting. So don't just see it. Go beyond this box of 9 to 5 as work. No, our work, our actions, is there all the time. From when we wake up in the morning, the legs are moving, the arms start moving. There's work going on. You're cooking something, that's work. Your arms are working, everything. You're eating, your jaws are working. So to think of it in terms of any actions. And the importance, like I said, is all these actions you're walking somewhere, you're squashing some bugs, right? You know, walking on ants, or you're cooking something and you just burnt some flying creatures, just went through those flames and got burnt up. Or you're eating something and that was made of some living thing that was killed in order for you to eat. So there's reactions there through our whole life, from morning to night. So the Vedic culture helps us to transform these actions from getting reactions to all these creatures that are killed and everything, to the point, transforming it so that we don't get reactions. That's what we want to come to the point to, that we don't get any reactions to our activities, which is binding us to another life, another life, another life, like that. And it's said that the only way to do that is not to stop acting. Because like I said, everyone has to work. I mean, you have to do some action. Otherwise, you're not going to survive. You need food and shelter and that, so you have to do some activities to get those things, to maintain those things. Even though I live very simply, I mean, I don't go to an office or a factory to make money, but I go out the door and have to work in the garden to grow some food and everything for us to eat, and for people that we invite here to come and eat. And so there's a lot of work going on, a lot of actions. So it's not just about the activities that we do to make money. That's not so important. That's just one tiny part of the picture. But you can't escape acting. But what we do want to escape is the reactions. And it's said that the way to do that is by offering all of our actions as a service for the Supreme. And that's love, you know, that's bhakti. Just like if one of the family goes out working, the husband, the wife goes out working, and they work hard, and there's difficulties there, and they bring home some money for the pleasure of their family. Well, they give it to the family, they give it to the partner, give it to the children, give it to the parents, like that. And why have they done that? That's love, you know, because they care about the family and they want to show their love for the family by giving them something. So yeah, when you give the results of your work to the Supreme, then that's a loving exchange. And because you didn't do it for yourself, you did it for the Supreme, you don't get a reaction. So that's the key, that's the secret. Karma means any action that you do for your own enjoyment, your own gratification, you'll get a reaction for it. If you want to escape the reaction, the key, the secret is not to do it for yourself, for your own sake, but to do it for the sake of the Supreme. And that's said in the Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, text 9. Yagna tat kamano natra lokoyam karma vandana tadatam karma kunteya mukta sangha samachara. That work has to be done for the sake of the Supreme, otherwise all the work that you do will cause bondage. So causing bondage means locking us into that cycle of birth and death, samsara. Yeah, so this is, I know it's a real mind bender. We're just thinking about making some money to pay the bills. But yeah, if we want to progress, then we really need to think beyond that. And a lot of people want to escape their work, but that's not really the real problem, and that's not really going to solve the problem just by leaving your work. Because even if you just stayed at home, you're going to get reactions. There's going to be karma for not working like that. There'll be reactions, so you can't escape the reactions just by running away from your work. And if you just do the opposite, just get absorbed in your work, then you're going to be getting reactions for that. That being a workaholic and just enjoying the results that you're getting, which is usually money these days. I mean, I don't get much money results. I get mostly fruits and vegetables and flowers and stuff like that. They're the results of my work. And traditionally that was, the results before the Industrial Revolution kicked in a couple of 100 years ago. Most people lived in a village scenario. They had a bit of land. They walked out of the door and they were at work. And they milked a cow and grew some crops, harvested the rice and brought it home, gave it to the wife and she cooked it, and they had a simple hut they lived in, and they had a nice family enjoyment like that, and everyone felt safe and peaceful and everything like that. And now we've changed that scenario, and now are people in the cities and that. But I mean, the same basic principles are there, but now it's become more complicated, that's all. Instead of just walking out the door to go to work, now you have to drive 50 kilometres, risking your life, spending so much money, like that, with the fuel and the cars and maintaining everything like that. And work hard to get some paper. Well, now it's not even paper, it's all electronic. And then and use that electronic or paper or whatever to get some food, and bring that home and like that. So at the end of the day, both ways you're getting food, through the village way or through the complicated city way. But all we've done is complicate things a lot. We've just complicated a lot. So the idea in Vedic culture is just to try to simplify things, try to keep life as simple as possible. Not everyone is going to be able to go back to a village kind of existence straight away. I'm not expecting that. Some people might like that. But for those that, need to continue the way things are going in the city, that's okay. That's not a problem. In Vedic culture, you can live in any kind of situation. But the main thing is to change our consciousness. We don't have to change our living situation. But the main thing, we don't have to change it necessarily from city life to country life or whatever like that, or from country life to city life. It doesn't really matter what kind of life you live, whether you're a single person or whether you're a married person or whatever like that. It doesn't really, you're a man or a woman, whatever. Because we're trying to elevate ourselves to the spiritual platform, which is beyond the body, which is beyond, where you live and what kind of body you have and everything like that. We just want to change our consciousness. And like I said, that change of consciousness mainly when you're working or doing any actions. And like I said, it's not just people that are making money, but even if you're working at home, doing your actions there at home or wherever you are, then changing the consciousness that you're not just doing the actions for your own enjoyment or your own family's enjoyment, but you're doing it for the sake of the Supreme. And obviously most people don't know who or what the Supreme is, the Supreme Being, the Supreme Person. So the first thing is we need to get some knowledge. And like I said, I recommend you read the Bhagavad Gita if you haven't already read it or haven't got it. And that'll give you a definite understanding of who we are, who is the Supreme Being, Supreme Person, and what is our relationship with the Supreme Being, and how do you develop that relationship. It's called Bhakti Yoga, like that. And it's a very simple process, but very powerful process. And, you judge any process by the results it gives. Like if you follow the Western process and you get really good results, sex, drugs, rock and roll, eat, drink and be merry. That's what I was brought up with. If you follow that Western process and you find that works for you, oh, good on you, good luck. I mean, I haven't seen it work for anyone. I mean, it didn't work for me. But if you find it works for you, good for you. But, otherwise, if it's not working, then try the Vedic perspective, Vedic culture, and get the knowledge of how it works and everything. Give that a go, and you might find it gives you great, peace and happiness and everything, prosperity. And it's worked for me over 30 years. And because of its work, then we're continuing with it. I mean, I think of myself as a scientific person. If I wasn't getting good results, I wouldn't follow it. It doesn't matter who tells me, that if it's doesn't work for me, then I'm not going to continue doing it. But, I've seen very good results from following the Vedic culture. And what I love about it, it's a way of life. It's a lifestyle. You can apply it in your situation you're in. Doesn't matter what situation you're in. If you're working in an office or factory, you can apply, the Vedic culture to that, the Vedic lifestyle to that, and get some really good results. So we're just going to talk a little bit about the theory today of work, of action, karma, and then tomorrow we'll look at the practicalities of how we can apply that in our daily life. So part of a little bit more of the theory side of work, karma, is that there's 4 different areas of work that we could work in the Vedic culture, which is everywhere. These are universal principles. To work either in the area of a teacher, which in Vedic culture is called in Sanskrit a brahmana, and so they maintain themselves through teaching. And another area is like a leadership position, a leader, a protector, like that. And in order to lead, in order to protect, sometimes they have to fight, to protect people. If some individual or group is attacking the people that they are protecting, then sometimes they have to fight. So they're like, can be like, a military kind of role, police, military, government, that kind of work. To our leaders, protectors, like that. And then there's the producers, the business people. They are making some profit through growing food and selling food, or some products, some services like that. And then the 4th area of work is as a labourer, and in Sanskrit that's called Sudra. And they are assisting the other 3 different areas. So they're assisting the teacher class and the leader protector class and the productive business class. So they're like just rendering different services. They have some boss, someone in charge, and they're just doing what they're told, like that. So these are 4 different areas of work. And we all have a particular nature. So in Vedic culture lines up our nature, what we have, with the right kind of work that fits that nature. And this is very relevant, just as relevant today as ever, because we have a hell of a lot of people that don't like the work that they're doing. They don't enjoy their work. And if you ask people, most people say, no, I don't like my job. But that's not very good, is it? Not very good for the person, and it's not very good for the rest of the society, because what kind of work's going to get done if you don't really like doing your job? Probably not very good, very good results. So in Vedic culture, the idea is to do a work that you like to do and that you're good at doing. So you've really found out what your nature is when you're doing a work that you really like to do and you're good at doing. So according to the Vedas, there's different qualities. There's different qualities that govern this whole universe. 3 main qualities. the Sattva Gun, which means the mode of goodness, and Rajagun, which means the mode of passion, and Tamagun, which means the mode of ignorance. So depending on what mode or quality we're in, if we're in the mode of goodness, then that teacher kind of role is the best. If we're in the mode of passion, then that protector leader kind of role is the best. If you're in a mixture of passion and ignorance, then the producer business role works the best. And if you're in the mode of ignorance, then that labourer role works the best. So very scientific, and it makes sense to match up our qualities with the work that we're doing. And you see, and today it's all messed up, so messed up. People do work that they're not good at doing and they don't like doing, and it's a big mess. They don't have the qualities that match their work. Like a lot of the modern day teachers, what do they teach? Are they teaching us the truth? No, they're liars. They're just cheaters. Just to make money, they tell so many lies and they mislead us. They're not real teachers. They're cheaters. So wrong person for the job. They're not telling us the truth. And then the supposed leaders and protectors, they're leading us into a ditch. They're just ruining our life. If we follow them, we'll end up in a ditch. And then they're not protecting us, they're exploiting us. Just taking the taxes and so forth. And even trying to kill us off. Like that, overpopulation. So kill us off. So they're not protecting us, they're exploiting, And then the producers and the business people, they are, like one of the roles was for the farming producers was to protect cows in Vedic culture. That you take the milk from the cow and it's giving you nice milk, and in return at least you can not kill it, protect it. But now the modern day producers, after taking everything from the cow and then so ungrateful that they'll just kill the cow. So everything's all topsy-turvy. And and the labourers, they're just kept in ignorance. The labourers are just kept in ignorance. Just more TV channels to watch the rugby and drink beer and just go through a whole life just completely in ignorance. So modern society is just not being organised properly. So what Vedic culture does is organise things so that everyone fits into a role that they like to do and they're good at doing, and they can all progress. So the idea is that before we die, we're a little bit enlightened at least, so at least we can get a better term of life in the next life. Or if we've done really well, if we're truly enlightened, then we can get completely free from material existence. So I know this is a lot to digest for some of you, but these are the facts, so every human being should be learning these things. I mean, we should have been learning this stuff from 5 years old, but we haven't, so better late than never. So yeah, it's a bit of an overload, but just try to digest a little bit. And and please, I recommend, look at the Bhagavad Gita as it is, and it's very, very enlightening. So yeah, tomorrow we'll look at just some of the practicalities of after you had breakfast, leave home, and you're off to work. Okay, I hope this meets you all in good health.